Have you ever wondered why some people leave just mean, nasty comments online? Really think about it. Why would someone spend their time tearing down a stranger? It makes no sense. If you're scratching your head on that one just like I do, stick around because we're going to talk about it today and maybe even make some sense of it. Now, let me give you a little roadmap for where we're heading here. First, we're going to chat about why people post these kinds of comments. What's going on in their heads? Because let me tell you, it's not what you'd think. Second, we'll dive into the real life consequences of hitting post on something. How can it hurt not just others, but also yourself? And third, I'll share some simple practical tips for how to respond when you feel like firing back. And finally, we'll wrap it up with how to deal with people who leave hateful comments on your stuff. Before we dive in, I want you to know that everything I'm sharing today is grounded in science and fact, not just my opinion. This isn't just what I feel. It's backed by research. And if you're curious, you can take a deeper dive into my research notes in the video description when this is over. So hang around because by the end of this video, you'll walk away with a whole new perspective and maybe even a few tools to handle all this nonsense online. I've been online since 1994 and the receiving end of a lot of nastiness over the years. And let me tell you about some of the just stuff people have said to me. I've had people threaten to kill me. Yes, actually end my life just because they didn't agree with something I've said. I've had people threaten to spread the most disgusting rumors, accusing me of horrible things just to ruin my name and reputation. And then there's the name calling, and boy, have I been called stupid, clueless, ignorant, and every name that you can think of. I've heard it. But here's the thing, none of it makes me mad. It just makes me sad for the person who feels the need to lash out like that. You don't write those kinds of things unless something's eating at you inside. If you've ever left a comment like that, I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to say, hey, there's a better way. Because I promise that living with that kind of anger in your heart is like carrying a bag of rocks everywhere you go. It's heavy and it just doesn't do you any good. So why do people do it? Why do they leave mean, nasty comments? Well, most of the time, it's not because they're bad people. Nope. It's because something else is going on. Let's talk about what that could be. Some people just don't know better. Sometimes it's as simple as nobody ever taught them how to disagree politely. It's like they think yelling louder makes them win. But really, it just makes them look small. Some people are bullies at heart, and let's be real. Some people are just bullies. They've got pain or insecurity they don't know how to deal with, so they try to make others feel smaller. But what they don't realize is that the real strength doesn't come from tearing people down. It comes from lifting them up. They think they're doing the right thing. A lot of folks think they're calling out the truth or standing up for something they believe in. But when you do that with anger or insults, it doesn't come across as righteous. It comes across as just rude. They feel safe behind a screen. Being behind a keyboard gives people this false sense of security, like their words don't have any consequences. But the truth is, your words online stick around longer than you think, and they can come back to bite you. They're venting their frustrations. Let's be honest. Sometimes it's not even about you. They've had a bad day, their job's stressing them out, they just got broken up on, and they use the internet as their punching bag. Or they're following the crowd, and sometimes people just go along with the mob. If everyone else is throwing insults, they think, hey, why not me too? But here's the thing. Following the crowd doesn't make you stand out. It just makes you part of the noise. Now let's talk about what happens when you post something hurtful online. Believe me, this isn't something you want to deal with. Words carry weight, even when they're typed. Your reputation is on the line. First off, your words leave a digital diary that's open for everyone to see. Think about it. friends, family, future employers. They can all find it. And once it's out there, it's hard to take it back. Nasty comments don't just make the person you're targeting look bad. They can ruin your reputation too. You might face legal trouble. This is where things get serious. A lot of folks think they're protected by free speech, but let me tell you, that's not exactly how it works. The First Amendment protects you from government censorship, but it does not give you the right to say whatever you want without consequences. Things like defamation, harassment, hate speech, and cyberbullying are not protected under free speech. Now, let me break that down for you. Defamation, which is false statements. If you make a false statement online that damages someone's reputation, you could be sued for defamation. For example, in Chef versus Bach, a parenting advocate was falsely accused of unethical practices in online forums. The result? She won $11.3 million in damages. Harassment is the repeated aggression that people post. Harassment includes repeated or extreme comments designed to intimidate or harm someone. Now, here's an example. A Florida man was sued for repeatedly sending threatening messages to a woman on Facebook. The court ordered him to pay damages and barred him from further contact. Hate speech. If your comments target someone based on race, gender, religion, or other protected characteristics, it can cross the line into hate speech. In a recent video, I even covered a story about how someone was arrested because of this. And cyberbullying, when online behavior includes stalking, doxing, which is revealing personal information, or targeting someone with malicious intent, it can fall under cyberbullying laws. In Dietz Development versus Perez, false accusations about a contractor on Yelp were considered damaging enough to result in $750,000 in damages. You think you're anonymous online? Well, hey, think again. In 2023 alone, Google received requests to unmask users tied to 441,000 accounts. And get this, they had to comply in 81% of those cases. The emotional and financial toll, and here's something else to think about. Even if you're in the right defending yourself in court, it's no walk in the park. It can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 or more to navigate a lawsuit, not to mention the emotional toll it takes, the stress, the sleepless nights, and the constant worry. It's enough to wear anyone down. People will block and silence you when you post aggressively. People don't engage. They block, they mute, or they scroll right past you. It's like yelling into the wind. You make a lot of noise, but no one's listening. And when people stop listening, you lose your voice entirely. Negativity hurts you too. Finally, let's not forget how this impacts you personally. Carrying that negativity doesn't just hurt others. It hurts you. It chips away at your peace of mind and can leave you feeling isolated, anxious, and even angry at the world. The bottom line? Here's my advice. Think before you post. Ask yourself, is this worth it? Could this come back to haunt me? Because once those words are out there, they can take a life of their own. And the cost might be far greater than you ever imagined. Let's say you're scrolling through comments and you see one that really gets under your skin. Maybe it's rude or it's dismissive or it's just wrong. It's tempting to fire back, isn't it? But before you type something you might regret, let me share a little advice that served me well over the years. Pause before you post. Here's something I want you to remember. Pause. It's an easy way to check yourself before you respond. P for pause. Stop and take a deep breath. Hold off on that first impulsive reply. You'd be amazed how much clearer things look after a moment of calm. Patience prevents problems. A, ask. Ask yourself, is what you're about to say true, thoughtful, and tactful? Will it add to the conversation or just stir the pot? U, use grace. Even if someone's being rude, respond with kindness or neutrality. Grace garners goodwill. S, stick to the facts. Leave the emotional jabs out of it. Facts speak louder than feelings in any argument. E. Evaluate. Finally, ask yourself, is this even worth my time? Not every comment needs a response. Sometimes the best answer is none at all. If you can go through those steps, you'll find that your replies will carry a lot more weight, and you'll feel better about them too. So here's how to disagree without being disagreeable. Sometimes you're going to run into someone who just sees the world differently than you do. And you know what? That's okay. But how you handle those disagreements makes all the difference. Here's a simple formula I've learned for disagreeing with, hopefully, class. Acknowledge their point of view. Start with something like, you know what, that's an interesting perspective, or I see where you're coming from. It's a little sign of respect, and it can go a long way. You can share your perspective calmly. Use phrases like, here's how I see it, or let me offer another way to look at it. Stay calm and clear. It helps the conversation be productive. And end with curiosity. Wrap it up with a thoughtful question like, so what do you think about this approach? Or does that make sense from your side? This keeps the dialogue open instead of just shutting it down. By doing this, you'll not only elevate the conversation, you'll also leave a positive impression on anyone else who's reading the thread. Remember, words have power. Every comment you post is like a little pebble in a pond. It ripples out in ways you might not expect. So the next time you feel the urge to fire off a quick, sharp reply, take a moment to think about the ripples you want to leave behind. Let's talk about what to do when someone leaves a nasty or disrespectful comment on your video or your post or your profile. Yeah, I've been dealing with this kind of stuff for years, and let me tell you, you've got more options than you might think. Option 1, hey, you can always run up the engagement. Here's a little irony for you. Every time someone leaves a nasty comment, they're actually helping your post or your video in the algorithm. Platforms like YouTube or Facebook count every comment as engagement, whether it's positive or negative. That means the more they comment, the more your content gets promoted. So if you're feeling up for it, you can respond professionally and calmly every time they comment. You don't have to stoop to their level. Instead, reply with grace, humor, or even curiosity. And here's what happens when you do this. You look wise and composed. When others see the thread, they'll notice how level-headed you are compared to the person ranting. You frustrate the troll. Most people posting nasty comments want to provoke you, poke at you. Staying calm denies them the reaction they're fishing for. I'll admit sometimes it's even a little fun to watch their attempts backfire. But remember, keep it professional. You're still leaving a public record of your own behavior. Option 2, hey, don't respond. You don't always have to respond. Sometimes the best choice is to say nothing at all. Not every comment deserves your time or your energy, especially if it's just someone trying to get a rise out of you. By ignoring them, you're taking the high road, and that can be incredibly powerful. It shows you're not bothered and keeps you from getting drawn into an argument you didn't sign up for. As the old saying goes, never wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, and the pig likes it. Option 3, you can block or mute the person. If someone's comments go beyond rude and start to feel like harassment, or they're just plain exhausting and nasty to deal with, you have tools at your disposal. Blocking. This stops the person from commenting on your posts or your video or interacting with you entirely. It's a clear boundary that says, I don't need this negativity in my space. Now, muting is a quieter option. It lets you stop seeing their comments without them knowing they've been silenced. They can keep ranting into the void, but you won't hear a thing. Now, blocking or muting isn't about giving up or losing. It's about protecting your mental health and creating a space where you can focus on positive, productive conversations. You don't owe anyone access to your time or your energy, especially if they're not being respectful. Which option is best for you? Well, here's the beauty of it. You get to decide. Every situation is different and there's no one-size-fits-all solution. Maybe you feel like engaging professionally today, or maybe tomorrow you just block and move on. The important thing is to remember that you're in control. At the end of the day, your online space is yours. Protect it, set boundaries that let you focus on the things that truly matter. And don't be afraid to use the tools that are there to help you. Here's the thing. The internet is a reflection of who we are. Your words matter, even when they're typed. They leave a legacy not just for others to see, but for you to live with. So before you post that comment, ask yourself, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Are you building bridges, encouraging thoughtful conversations, and spreading kindness? Or are you just burning bridges and adding to the noise? The choice is yours, and here's the good news. Every time you choose kindness, curiosity, or grace, you're making the internet and the world a little bit better. If this video gave you something to think about, I would love it if you gave the video a like, you subscribed, and you boop that notification bell. It lets me know this kind of conversation matters to you and help spread the word to others who might need to hear it. Have you ever turned a negative comment into a positive connection? Or maybe you've seen someone else handle it? With wisdom and grace, share your story. I'd love to hear how you've made the internet a kinder place. And if you've made it this far, don't forget to check out my next video right here. It's about how your online legacy can cost you dearly and how you are tracked. Hey, thanks for watching. Stay awesome, stay curious, and as always, do good things. See ya.